So as you can see, this is a very different video than what I usually do, but I just wanted to get this out there. So I was fortunate enough to go to the Google Pixel event today, and let me tell you, it was amazing. And I was lucky enough to actually have some time with the Pixel 4 XL, and these are some of my thoughts. Right off the bat, it's a beautiful device. I know they don't have that stripe or that visor they had on the Pixel 3 in the previous models, but this clean, frosted finish is something beautiful. And actually, the white and the oh-so-orange are frosted, but the black is more like a piano black like we saw on the iPhones, so just look out for micro scratches if that's the one for you. Now, flipping it over, the display is incredible. In fact, Google touted that DisplayMate gave them an A+ rating, saying that it was nearly perfect. And to be honest with you, it definitely was nearly perfect. Like, the display, the vibrancy was great, and I even tilted it off axis, and the blue tint like we saw in the Pixel 2 was barely there. Now, looking at the front of the phone, obviously we have those huge bezels, and I also noticed there is no front firing speaker. But believe me, I had the phone in hand and was playing videos, and it was plenty loud, and I wasn't cupping the bottom at all. There's still audio pumping out from the earpiece, and there's definitely a lot of audio pumping out from the bottom firing speakers. Now, one thing I did notice about the display is that it's a little smaller than the Pixel 3 XL, and it's because there's no notch, but also it's because there's a lot more on the forehead of this phone. They have the two IR blasters, they have the radar for Soli, and they have the camera. So there's a lot going on in that forehead, and I understand people who are looking at this phone think, wow, that's too much bezel, but honestly, it's way better in my opinion than the Pixel 3 XL. So I had a little time with the camera, and what I wanted to do was kind of show off that double exposure feature they have. So if you look at this video, you can see me playing with the two sliders. You can see how you could change the shadows and also change the exposure to make sure everything's working properly. Now, I also was able to take a portrait shot. This is a front-facing portrait. Best I can do with the time I had. Believe me, everyone was going crazy trying to grab one of these. And there's one other feature I wanted to test out, and that was the super zoom. Now, check out this G. This is a Google G, and it's a pretty decent photo. But this is it zoomed in. Check out where I was standing. I was standing so far, and that zoom is just incredible. Now, one thing everyone is talking about is how the speaker said that we prefer zoom over wide, and I asked one of the tech leads about that, and he said he actually has data from previous phones of people pinching rather than going out when it comes to wide, so that data drove them to choose telephoto over wide, but he kind of looked at me as if we'll see wide in the future. Now, the motion sense, which is essentially that radar feature where you can swipe your hand, there was one thing I noticed. If you look at the apps, there's this little glowing hue that comes from the top of it, and this essentially cues you that this app has that motion sense enabled. So if you see that glow coming from the top, that means that you can swipe your hand back and forth. Now, what was really cool is that not only can you swipe back and forth, but it notices when your hand is approaching the phone, so it readies up the Face ID IR blasters. So that's what makes it one of the fastest Face IDs in the world, I guess. Now, I did put in to see if I can get a review device. Hopefully I do get one of those quicker than my actual unit. I did pre-order this. Now, when I get that review unit, of course, I'll make a review. If there's some questions that you have that you want me to answer, please leave them in the comments and I'll make sure to get to them. This is Ken, the Mono Reporter. I just wanted to get this video out there because it was one of the most amazing events ever, and I just feel so blessed and grateful to be able to go. So, questions, put them in the comments. I'll try to get to them. And the Pixel 4 is worth the upgrade in some sense, but they're only giving you like $260 on the Google store for trade-in, which I think is horrible. So I'm just gonna sell my old one online and just use that money to pay it off, because $260 for Pixel 3 XL in like new condition, I don't know, Google, how does it feel right? Let me know what you think.